Why everything feels so expensive, and who's actually to blame. Why does your paycheck feel smaller, even though you're earning more than ever? Why does it cost $8 for a dozen eggs, and $5 for a cup of coffee that used to be $1.50? You're not crazy. You're not bad with money. This is by design. And by the end of this video, you'll understand how inflation, interest rates, and even your brain have been manipulated, sometimes by policy, and sometimes by you. Stick around, because once you see how the game is played, you'll never look at money the same way again. 1. The Great Inflation Illusion. Let's start with the simplest lie. We're all told that inflation is just prices going up, but the truth is, inflation is the value of your money going down. You're not paying more, your dollar is worth less. And who controls that? Central banks, through a tool called interest rates. Here's the simple version. When the economy's slow, they lower rates, people borrow and spend, boom, the economy grows. When things get too hot, inflation spikes. They raise rates, people borrow less, spending cools down. But that also means pain for regular people like you. So, if the Fed can fix inflation, why do prices never really go back down? Point 2. Fiscal versus monetary, the economic tug-of-war. There are two big players in the economy, the government and the central bank. The government uses fiscal policy, taxes, spending, stimulus checks. The Fed uses monetary policy, interest rates, and money supply. Here's the kicker. They often fight each other. While the Fed is trying to cool the economy by raising rates, the government might be handing out stimulus checks or cutting taxes, pouring fuel on the fire. Story moment, 2020 example. In 2020, the US dropped rates to zero to avoid a recession, while also printing trillions of dollars. In the short term, people felt richer. But in 2022, inflation hit 9.1%, the highest in 40 years. Blame loop? So, who do you blame? Politicians, the Fed, yourself. That uncertainty, it's by design. 3. Globalization, cheap today, expensive tomorrow. For decades, globalization helped keep prices low. You could buy $20 shoes made across the world, but now, trade wars, shipping disruptions, and rising labor costs overseas mean the cheap forever era is over. Mini story, Apple used to rely on China, but rising costs and political risk, they're moving factories to India. Guess who pays for that move? You do, in the price of the next iPhone. 4. Behavioral economics, your brain versus your wallet. Even if the economy was perfect, you'd still feel broke. Why? Because your brain is wired to make irrational decisions about money. Quick concepts simplified. Present bias. You value $100 today more than $110 next week. Loss aversion. Losing $20 feels worse than gaining $20 feels good. Herd behavior. You buy because others are, not because it's smart. You've been played. Marketers, platforms, even banks, they exploit these biases every day. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to learn the rules. 5. How to outsmart the system. Here's how to play the game smarter. Learn how interest rates affect your debt and savings. Know that inflation punishes cash, so invest wisely. Don't fall for economic headlines. Follow long-term trends. Recognize your brain's money traps and train it like a muscle. The system isn't fair, but it is learnable. What the government doesn't tell you about interest rates. The government just raised interest rates again. But here's what they're not telling you. Your rent, your job, your investments, all of it is about to change, and most people have no idea why. In the next 8 minutes, I'll show you exactly how interest rates silently control your life and what you can do to escape the trap. 1. What are interest rates really? Interest rates aren't just about credit cards or mortgages. They're the cost of borrowing money. When rates go up, borrowing gets expensive. That slows down the economy on purpose. 2. The hidden chain reaction. When interest rates go up, People borrow less gives spend less. Businesses cut back gives hire less. Stocks drop gives 401ks suffer. Housing becomes unaffordable. This isn't theory. It's already happening. 3. Why the Fed plays this dangerous game. The Fed's goal is to tame inflation, but they often overshoot. They can cause recessions trying to prevent them. Example story: the 1980s Volcker shock. In the 80s, interest rates hit 20%. Millions lost jobs, but inflation dropped. Was it worth it? That's still debated. L4. How IT impacts you trying to buy a home. Rates equals higher payments. Carrying debt? You'll pay more. Investing in the market. High rates kill growth. You're not just a bystander. You're a target of economic policy. How globalization made you rich, then broke you. Your phone, your clothes, your coffee, everything around you got cheaper because of globalization. But now, prices are rising, factories are closing, and your paycheck doesn't stretch as far. What happened? This is the rise and fall of the global economy and how it quietly broke the middle class. This is the rise and fall of the global economy and how it quietly broke the middle class. 1. The global gold rush. In the 1990s, companies realized something. If labor is cheaper overseas and shipping is fast, profits skyrocket. So they outsourced everything: factories, customer support, even tech. And for a while, it worked. Prices dropped. Stock markets boomed. 2. The hidden cost. But with jobs gone overseas, local economies crumbled. The working class was left behind. Wages stagnated. Entire industries vanished. We traded local stability for global efficiency. And now the bill is due. 3. The breakdown begins. Then the system cracked. COVID stopped global shipping. Trade wars disrupted supply chains. Suddenly, the world wasn't as connected or reliable as we thought. 4. The economic reality. Now companies are deglobalizing. They're bringing production home, but it costs more. That means higher prices, fewer product options, and the world economy that's slowing down. Globalization gave us 30 years of cheap abundance, but the next 30 may be very different. If you feel like everything's getting harder, more expensive, you're not imagining it. Globalization made life easier, but it also made us fragile. Comment: what's one product you've noticed get way more expensive? Share this with someone who still thinks outsourcing only hurts other countries. Like and subscribe for weekly breakdowns of global economics made simple.